A social entrepreneur.
Really, it's just ordinary people that have seen a problem that isn't being fixed.
I always felt from the start that there were people way better than me that could do this job. And then somebody told me, there probably is somebody better than you to do it, but they're not doing it. You are.
It really is just taking action to actually make it a reality.
You get one project across the line and people say, wow, he's not a lunatic. It does actually work.
All across Ireland, there are social entrepreneurs with big ideas to solve social problems. They invent a solution and put in the hard yards to see it through. In this series, we see how their big ideas and sheer determination are changing countless people's lives. In Dublin, Food Cloud are working towards a world where no good food goes to waste. Food waste is a global problem, with 30% of all food produced going in the bin. This burns through scarce natural resources and has a negative impact on climate. Meet Tony, one of Food Cloud's delivery drivers. Today, Tony is preparing what's called a rescue run, a mix of food from the hub and small daily donations from supermarkets that he'll collect on his way. These will be delivered to charities around Dublin who will put them to good use.
Right, so this is the donations that come in on the app, on the phone. So every morning we check them out. So we have Tesco Rathmines Metro, there's 9 trays, and that's bakery, fruit and veg. The goal of this is just to come back with an empty van, and they're all happy. This is through a TUS scheme, through the social welfare and South Dublin County Council. I was unemployed, so I'm on this for 12 months. Getting an extra $22.50 a week on the dole. But believe you me, I love what I'm doing. It opened my eyes up. Look forward to getting up in the morning and going out and doing it. I've got a great bit of laugh in the warehouse. Got a great bit of laugh out with the volunteers, and saying to you get a good buzz off the charities you go to, and the amount of people you get to meet, you know, different walks of life. Where before you were just kind of basically meeting the same people in the area. So it's normally a mix. You might get some veg, you might get some minerals, you might get you'll always get breads and cakes and stuff, you know. So it's always a good mix because it's fairly busy, Tesco, you know. Beep, beep, beep. Food Cloud.
Partnering with major supermarkets allowed Food Cloud to get a foothold in their mission to reduce food waste.
You know, it has been a stage of increments, so, you know, you get your first big supporter on board and that can be a bit of a game changer in terms of encouraging others. And then once you've built some credibility, then others are willing to come on board.
Great selection, you know. Most days, you know, I get the stuff like that, you know, so. As soon as you think straight away, who'll I give this to, who'll I go to, you know, have I got enough of this, have I got enough of that, so you're just sharing it out as much as you can, trying to be fair. Now we're going to Baggot Street Upper, and I think they've about 9 trays as well.
Is this waste food that's going to charity?
Yeah, this is a Food Cloud.
Sorry,
oh, no, you're okay, no, you're
filming,
bad, no, you're bad, yeah. No, this is a Food Cloud, so we get all the donations from Tesco.
This is all stuff that's out of date, just a little
No,
bit?
it's yesterday's bread, say.
Fantastic.
So I go
Isn't
around
that
and give
brilliant?
it to charities then, so.
Brilliant stuff.
All right, see ya. That's happened a few times. Some people know it, you know, they see the van, they'll cop it. As I said to you at the start, I look forward to getting up in the morning and going out to do this. I really do. I really love it. I really do. And I think if the year was up and I didn't get a job out of it, I think I'd still become a volunteer with them because I enjoy it. And that's being honest with you. Cheeverstown House. This place is huge.
Cheeverstown provides residential and day services to people with intellectual disabilities. Their busy restaurant caters to their on-site residents as well as service users who live in the wider community.
How are you? How are things?
Good.
You good? Now, got some nuts for you, yeah? I just got the trolley out. Do you want some breads?
Yeah, we'll have a little.
No. Watch your back there.
Anne-Marie and Thomas are residents in the community and are also employed part-time in the kitchen with Chef Janice.
I work in the kitchen on the Monday to Wednesday, and I love working in Cheeverstown with all my workmates. We have fun. We have dancing and everything in the kitchen and everything.
Hey, 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 it's my life. Let it shake your thing. Hey, hey.
While charities sometimes place orders with Food Cloud, Tony's Rescue Run delivery is a goodie bag of surprises. Chef Janice already has plans for how they'll use the food.
So we might make breakfast rolls out of them in the morning. We'll send some of them down to the houses, and some of the service users might have them for their tea tonight. Thomas is going to deliver. You're going to deliver down the bags of potatoes now?
Yeah, I am.
So we have 14 houses on site here. So we divide the food out between the 14 houses, and it's like a little hamper, and it's delivered down each time Food Cloud comes in.
They like me coming.
What do they say you're like? What do they call you?
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus.
I was dressing up as Santa last year. It was very good.
Access to Food Cloud has meant big changes in the Cheeverstown kitchen. The savings made have even freed up the budget to hire extra staff. But it has also meant a culture change in the kitchen and helped the team expand their own horizons.
Roughly about 60% of our delivery of food comes from Food Cloud. Before Food Cloud, don't like using the word boring, but we're kind of institutionalised. So we knew we had set menus. We knew what we were having for our dinner in 5 weeks' time.
The menu was very limited. We had 2 choices a day and 1 salad bar, and the salad bar consisted of 12 salads. It now consists of 22 salads. It's interesting. It's challenging at times. There's an odd time I'd have to take my phone out and say, God, I've never seen that ingredient. I better Google it up before I cook it.
In Kilcock, the men's shed has become a focal point of the local community. Alongside their woodwork and gardening, the men have also started a choir, performed around Ireland, and even released a song. Despite this newfound fame, the personal impact of the shed is still the most remarkable story.
When I moved in here with the lads, it was like putting the turbocharger on a 1600 engine to get me where I am. Just took off. My mental well-being.
You know, one morning just dropped in to see what the crack was. Haven't left since.
I just came down to get involved in something to fill the gap in the mornings. But when I saw the garden, I said, oh, this is for me. I couldn't sit at home. I can't sit indoors at all. I have to be outdoors. I'm an outdoors person.
One of my sons actually said to me, he said, Dad, I haven't seen you as happy in years.
Well, when I came in through the door, okay, I was a total stranger in the place, but I didn't feel like one. I was meant to feel welcome immediately, and was asked what I want to do. So I saw somebody boys working on the lathe here, and I said, right, I'd like to do a bit of that, see if I could.
I never seen a lathe, let alone used one before coming into the men's shed.
The first Christmas I was here, all my kids got presents that I had made for the first time, you know.
The atmosphere is very jovial and very informative. Anybody wants to know anything, if you don't know something, ask one of the lads. They come over and absolutely help 100% in what they're doing. And you of course you get the slagging as well. You know, you wouldn't want to be too thin-skinned in here as well.
Yeah, none of them had singing experiences before, so it's really new there, and they're really brave. They do lots of concerts. We love working with them. Yeah, it's amazing.
Their single, The Sands of Time, hit #1 in the Irish easy listening charts and has become something of an anthem for the other 450 men's sheds around the country.
Time flies, there's no tomorrow. Shoulder to shoulder, no need for sorrow. Come on now, there's life in the old dog shed.
Claire and Emer Crehan's connection to the shed came through their late father, a founding member.
Yeah. The men did that, yeah. They made this, and this is one of the first photos of our dad when he was in the Guards. And yeah, they made this beautiful bench to always remember him here, so it's gorgeous. Our dad was a founding member of the shed here, and he was helping to build this premises. The premises was in a ruin, and he passed away here when he was building it. And we decided to open a music school shortly after that in the town. And the first project that we did was to do a big concert with the gospel choir to raise money to help get the shed be completed. We approached the men about getting involved with that concert and asked them would they sing, and they said that they didn't sing, and we said we would make them sing, and and they were really surprised how much they enjoyed it, and then they decided to keep going and asked us could they form a choir. High fives all over the place.
Men especially don't make new friends. They may have friends from college, which they're still in touch with, still go out with, but to actually go somewhere and make a whole new bunch of friends is very difficult. But if you take that step, say to the men's shed, that problem is gone.
You're up there at breakfast time, and I mean, when that bell goes up there for breakfast, everybody just drops what they're doing, up the stairs, round the table, have breakfast and a crack. You know, so it's bound to be the company, and you can talk to anybody here. Whatever your problems are, you can share them, and fellas do. It comes up in conversation somewhere or another, and we just share our own experiences, share what we found to be good and what we found not to work. You know, there's another gentleman here, and he had 2 strokes, so we can chat about that as well. It's all off the cuff.
I trained in the aviation industry, and that was my love, if you like, in life. I worked every hour out there in the airport, and I was hardly ever at home. When the consultant says that horrific C word, it puts everything in perspective. I said, no, that's it, I'm retiring. Cancer 100% successful cure. I decided I'm going out and finish working. I'm going to enjoy myself, whatever time is left.
Last year we got 3 crops out of here. I'm getting ready now to put the garlic and the onions in for next year. No, there's no boss. Everybody's equal in here.
Retirement, or the thoughts of it, can scare the living daylights out of people. But when you have something like this to look forward to in it, man, there's nothing to worry about. Things to do, people to meet, places to go, things to see, tours to be on, shows to do. You're not looking back, you're looking forward. Light shines more than darkness, that kind of a way.
Getting away from trouble and strife, giving more purpose to everyone's life. Lots of friends that you just haven't met in our men's shed.
In Waterford, we catch up with Tammy Darcy, founder of the Shona Project, which addresses issues such as anxiety, depression, bullying, body image, school stress and relationship difficulties for young girls. Tammy draws on some of her own complicated experiences growing up as she educates and empowers young girls across Ireland to become confident and resilient women.
I always felt from the start that there were people way better than me, more accomplished than me, younger than me, more qualified than me that could do this job. And then somebody told me there probably is somebody better than you to do it, but they're not doing it. You are. Our mission is to educate, empower and inspire today's Irish girls to become tomorrow's strong, confident and curious young women. But really what we want to do is make sure that every girl in Ireland feels that when she gets through those teenage years, which can be difficult, that she can achieve her potential and she can achieve her goals, whatever those goals are and whatever that potential is. Freya's my daughter. She's 14. She's just hitting peak Shona age. In Ireland at the moment, we've got the highest rate of death by suicide in teenage girls in Europe. We've got the highest rates of depression in teenage girls in Europe. They're hit with these images like thousands of times, nearly subliminally every day, that are telling them that this is what a girl should be like, or this is what your life should be like, and this is what you should look like. Their worlds are so much bigger than ours were, and there's nowhere really to hide, and there's no like quiet time. They're just accessible all day and all night to everybody, which is just too much. So the handbook is a 52-page sort of survival kit that we want to distribute to all the girls that are starting first year in Ireland this year. So we've got 38,000 copies that we want to deliver to the 734 schools. There's 4 sections to it: your heart, your mind, your body, and your world. And there's lots of things included in it, like how to deal with, tricky friendships, study skills, how to organise your time, and kind of smaller hints on how to take care of yourself and make sure that you're in a good mindset.
Today, Tammy is meeting with Shona ambassador Izzy. Izzy writes articles for the Shona Project website and advises on events. Tammy is keen to hear what they can learn from last year's Shona conference as they plan this year's event, which will bring together 800 teenage girls in Waterford. The ambassador's input is key to keeping the work in the world of its target audience.
So if we're trying to pin down the message, the one message that we want every girl to get from the day, what was it that you got?
I think it was that we're all kind of in this together, because it wasn't just our school there, it was our school and nearly, I think it was 7 or 8 other schools, was it? And when the speakers came up, you could see that every girl in there was engaging with it. So it's that every girl went through nearly kind of the same struggles. And there's nearly 1,000 girls there. So it's just incredible for the same message to hit home with so many different people.
Yeah.
So it's it's a sense of community nearly.
Izzy joined the project last year after attending the first Shona conference.
Conference is a funny word for it. Last year I would nearly compare it to a kind of a music festival at the end, because everybody was up dancing, singing, there was bubbles everywhere, like the atmosphere was amazing. It was just brilliant. We all came back into the school at lunch and the teachers were all looking at us because we had the biggest smiles on our faces. So it's sharing this positive energy with so many other girls, and I just thought this has to be something that I get in on.
And what do you think are the challenges that you see going on in the school around you that you think the Shona Project should be addressing, or what should we be talking about at the conference that you see a lot of with your friends and the girls that you go to school with?
So there's obviously bullying and diet culture and all the different stresses that comes with being a teenage girl. It's hard for us to all come together, and I think the Shona Project is doing that. It's bringing everybody together and it's giving us a common place or a common way to express ourselves. I guess social media is, a big forerunner in a lot of the issues that young girls deal with. We're all comparing each other and comparing our bodies and comparing our lives, but the Shona Project kind of takes a step back from that and says, actually, we need to be working together, because if we don't help and respect each other, then it's so much easier for other people not to. The Mount St. Choir, the Shona Project and Tammy, it's changed my life, for the better, for the long run, forever.
Meanwhile, in Athenry, Prepare Me founder Katrina Waters-Crehan is drawing on her experience in the disability sector, where she saw a need for people to be prepared for everyday experiences that might otherwise be the cause of immense anxiety.
We create picture stories, video models, and other resources. So this is our picture story for going to the doctors. So the idea behind this picture story and any of the other ones that we do is to use actual imagery that, reflects the experience of going to the doctors as well as possible, alongside really simple language and as much opportunity for a child or adult to familiarise themselves with all that activity entails, so that they can feel as prepared as possible.
Katrina's packs are already impacting families around Ireland. In Dublin, Karima and her mum Mairead are using one for the first time.
The doctor looks into Joshua's ears with his otoscope. This does not hurt. This checks that Joshua's ears are okay. Can we have a look at your ears? You ready? Will we try again? Oh, good job. And the other one? The other ear? This side? Look over that way. Yeah, it just arrived, so that was our first time to actually use it. Karima is almost 12 years old. She was diagnosed with autism when she was 2. She was later then diagnosed with a moderate intellectual disability as well. So for Karima, learning is that little bit trickier. It's just going to make a huge difference for her to have it broken down like this and be able to touch and feel the things and actually try them out, so she knows what it's doing. It's just a light. It's just, a thermometer. It's not going to hurt her. Super job. Do you want to listen to mummies? You want to listen? Put it on. You ready? Can you hear it? Ba-dum, ba-dum. Karima would really have to be very, very sick before we would risk taking her to a doctor, because it's just so stressful for her. She doesn't cope well with someone coming into her space and touching her or shining things on her. She had a bit of a bad experience when she was younger. She had to have a drip put in, which she pulled out, and then she had another one put into her foot, which she also pulled out, and it was just really traumatic for her. This is so important for us. If anything does go wrong with Karima, it's so important to know that we'll be able to go to the doctor without worrying that she's just going to get so upset that they won't know what's wrong with her, and it's a guessing game because they can't get near her. We're just so grateful to Prepare Me and Katrina for putting together this pack. Something so simple can make such a huge difference to someone's life.
Having left her job in the disability sector, Katrina now runs Prepare Me full-time, alongside caring for her 2 young children.
Some of it comes from being a mammy. Fear is a horrible emotion, you know, it can just paralyse you and hold you in place. It's a really lonely emotion. Nobody wants their children to feel scared where they might not have to be. Nobody wants their children to be on the back foot for anything. You know, you want the world to be as level a playing field as you can make it for your child.
Blackbird is in.
What's he doing?
Blackbird is in Latin.
Casey has sensory processing disorders, so she either takes in too much or too little information through her senses. So this is a thing called the Wilbarger protocol. So we did it 6 times a day, and it soothes and helps develop her nervous system to help with how she's taken in information through touch and taste. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
No, you didn't do this.
I'll do it in a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You constantly feel like you have to enlighten people that children like yours exist. If we go somewhere where I think something is going to be difficult for her, trying to explain to the person on reception or explain to the dentist or the optician or the doctor or whoever it is, my child has a different set of needs. This might be quite stressful for them. These are the things that might make it a bit easier. And then you have to deal with maybe the potential reaction or response to that isn't always what you expect it to be or what you might hope for it to be. And that's horrible. Like, that's just, it's awful. You know, and one parent that used our resources said, if I walked into a doctor's surgery and I saw those books in the waiting room, that would be the biggest welcome to me and my child's needs. That would make me realise that that conversation had already been started. I didn't have to have another situation. Having something like that in place will allow a family or a child or adult to maybe feel truly welcome in a way that they might not feel now. If nobody made an effort to meet me where I'm at, I wouldn't really feel as wanted as the next person.
Next time on Changing Ireland, My Big Idea, we see the impact that these ideas can have as we meet the people working to make Ireland more autism friendly, a group of resilient teenage girls working to help others, and the Westmead family that depend on the kindness of people in their local men's shed.